Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video, and today I have a host of information, and it's coming from none other than Xbox boss Phil Spencer. Now, he talks about the mid-gen refresh, if we're gonna have one, if Microsoft is working on it. He also goes into detail about the ABK deal that was reconstructed for the CMA and gives us clarity on what we can expect in the future. Now, it's a pretty interesting interview. It's coming from IGN.com, and Dustin is doing the interview, and I will leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. So let's just get into this interview. I'm going to come back and give you guys my thoughts.
Xbox has their biggest booth ever at Gamescom this year, and we're thrilled to have Phil Spencer with us to talk about some of their exciting partnerships and to answer some of the tough questions fans have been curious about. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Spencer right here with me. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm looking at all the people. This is such a cool setup because all the people on the Gamescom floor are right there. It's cool. I appreciate you guys having a booth here on the floor. It's awesome.
Just had this big announcement about some sort of CMA issue where you're partnering with Ubisoft. What does that mean for video games? Like if the Activision deal closes, can you just explain it to me? Because I don't get it.
Fundamentally, we are trying to bring more games to more people. And we think doing the deal with Ubisoft, which frees up one of the concerns at the CMA, which is the UK regulatory board where acquisitions get handled, will allow more games to go to more people. We've always thought we would do that as well, but Ubisoft's a good partner. We know them. They're independent from us, so we say any kind of concerns that we may dictate where the games go, hopefully is alleviated now. And allow us to continue to move forward in what we're working on with the deal. We still have work to do there, but we think it's a good step, bring more games to more people, which has been what this is about.
So if I want to play, is it just cloud streaming, or will
Yes.
it have an impact on Game Pass?
It is the rights that will go to Ubisoft when the deal closes are the cloud streaming rights for ABK games.
So Call of Duty, I can still boot that up on Game Pass potentially once the deal closes.
Yeah, on ABK, I'm going to a different answer now just because the way you asked that. I want to make sure people know that there's work to actually move games to Game Pass. So for people who think like the deal's going to close
October 18th,
then everything's available to Game Pass. That's not true. Like so, and it hasn't been true in other acquisitions that we've done. Like there's work for us to go do, just mechanical work for us to go do. So it will take us time, definite time, to get the games before. But this has nothing to do with making native games available in Game Pass. This is all about the Ubisoft relationship, is all about the cloud streaming rights for ABK games.
Well, that
ABK being Activision Blizzard King. It's really Activision and Blizzard since they have the kind of pay-to-play games.
That makes me feel a lot better. Thanks, CMA, for making it super confusing. But anyway.
But let me say, it's in addition to other deals that we've done, right? Like GeForce and Boosteroid, Ubisoft, other deals. I think there's like some GeForce announcements going out now about our PC games starting to hit there. So if you're a GeForce Now subscriber and you're a Game Pass subscriber, you're starting to be able to stream the PC versions of those games, which I think is an awesome part of this as well. Getting more games to more people has been what this is about. Not taking games away from PlayStation. I know there's like, that's not what it is. We look at the success of Xbox as how many people are playing Xbox games, and that's important to us.
Yeah, I mean, if you took them off PlayStation, you would literally lose money.
That we would.
Yeah,
it's never been in the plan. I mean, I've had to wear a suit and tie. People like seeing all that stuff.
You look
not
very,
there anymore.
You look 3 years old. Where are we at with the timeline of the console? Are we at the beginning? Are we in the middle?
I think we're kind of at the end of the beginning, like if that makes any sense. I think the kind of supply issues early on lengthened the beginning to some extent, both on cost as well as just availability. I think from a game dev standpoint, not just us, but third parties, you're really just now starting to see the swell of games that got slowed up through COVID production now starting to launch. I think we have like 85 games launching in the industry between now and like tomorrow, right? It seems like there's so many games coming right now that we're starting to get through the beginning of this generation and hopefully into a place where as an owner of a console, you've got games that are taking full advantage of the hardware and are great games for people to go play. And I look at the lineup over the rest of this year from third parties alone, and it's fantastic.
What's next for gaming hardware? Like, are better graphics still enough to differentiate?
I think better graphics, more realistic feel will always be important. I also love that different form factors are coming out. I thought what Valve did with the Steam Deck was awesome. I'm traveling with my ROG Ally when I'm here, having a great time playing games. I feel like it's a remote Xbox for me, right? I log in, my community's there, my games are there. All devs should support cross saves, so that's to you, Remnant 2 team. I'm playing a ton of Remnant 2, but I can't move to PC. But
do you have any news about some sort of mid-generation refresh for Xbox?
No. We're doing right now the increased storage on the Series S. The black one, yeah. That's what we actually call it.
What did he say?
Yeah, it does. It looks great. But no, like I said, we're kind of at the end of the beginning in my mind. So I think we need to let devs settle on this hardware and get the most out of it. But in terms of increased frame rate, increased resolution, I just look at what goes on PC with high-end GPUs, high-end CPUs. And it's not always just about pixel count or frame resolution. I think there's lighting techniques. There's a bunch of things that go into what makes a game look and feel great. And we have a ton of headroom as an industry there.
Baldur's Gate 3 team brought up some issues with Xbox Series S and split screen getting it to work properly. I know the Forza team announced that it won't launch with split screen, I believe.
Local split screen, yeah, split screen, yeah.
Local split screen. So
or even online split screen, yeah.
Is there some future where you allow developers just to launch on the Series X versus S? Because there's the parity clause right now, and I'm curious, will that ever be loosened up a bit?
I want to decouple these issues a little bit.
Yeah.
The decision to do split screen or not is a creative decision, a dev decision. So if we think about like Forza, it has nothing to do with any kind of hardware thing on S and X, just where they wanted to focus their time. We obviously see the data in terms of how many people play local co-op for games. I love local co-op. Shout out to Vampire Survivors that just launched it, fantastic. But there's also just let's go where the play is in terms of where we're going to focus our dev resources. In terms of the two platforms, I want games to launch on both platforms. There are feature differences between the platforms. We have an ability to kind of handle that and how it works. Where teams are going to choose to focus their time and their effort is up to them. We're here to support them and what they want to go do. We want to make sure that games, when they're launching on competitive platforms, are also launching on Xbox. So we're going to learn from this experience as well, because we don't love that. But I don't think it's something that's like a fatal flaw in the system. It's partners prioritizing their time, us listening and being a good partner to them. And you see some amazing games doing great work across S and X. Diablo looks great, Starfield looks great, Forza looks great across both. And we think, I want to make sure console gaming is accessible to more people, and we think the price point of the console is a pretty important part of that. Yeah, no, I think it's a fair question. I will say that I think some of the discussion in the community has maybe not come from us or the devs. It's been more the community building, well, this happened, and then that happened, and then so it must be about this. And I think we can do more to add clarity to actually where we are, and I look forward to doing that.
So you threw like 300 devs out to Larian to help them get Baldur's Gate on Xbox?
It wasn't 300, but absolutely.
400, wow.
No, it's a great game. They're an important partner. I'm meeting with them here at Gamescom. Like it's a game I want to see on the platform, and we have resources that helped in terms of making sure it's going to sit. I think they've said it's going to ship by the end of the year. I think that's their words. Yeah. In terms of what they've said. But like we should together come up with clarity to set some expectations for Xbox fans, and I look forward to doing that.
So there we have it. Phil Spencer has finally addressed the ABK situation and given it some clarity. Now, on my first initial video, I kind of made some mistakes on it because I was just thinking that this deal was only going to be in the UK, but it is worldwide. Ubisoft will be handling the ABK cloud games only worldwide. And this is in addition to the other deals that they have, such with Nvidia, Boosteroid, Nintendo's going to be getting some games. So this is basically them handling the licensing so that Microsoft can't dictate where these games goes. So it doesn't mean that it's not going to be on Xbox Game Pass. he reiterated that on this interview, and he said that the game will be in Game Pass. He said there's a procedure, so when the deal is closed, don't expect to see all those games in the service right away, but they will be in the Game Pass service, and I'm going to assume as well as the cloud. However, Ubisoft will be handling the licensing, so they'll be able to put it on other platforms, making sure that these games are not exclusive to Microsoft's cloud platform. So it's not as bad as we first initially thought. I'm a little bit annoyed that the CMA is kind of dictating what's going to happen in the rest of the world, but Microsoft doesn't seem to be too upset about this. It is going to appear on their platform. It's going to appear on other platforms, and I'm going to assume that they're probably going to make more money and push cloud gaming forward. So we're just going to have to accept this for what it is at this point in time. We hope that the CMA gets on with its job and gets this deal approved so that we can put this all behind us and look to the future. Now, I hope that this is resolved by the middle of September. And of course, when an announcement is made, I'll come back and give you guys more information. Now, he also talked about a mid-generation refresh. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, his answer was quite disappointing for me. Now, you guys know that I've been pushing for a mid-generation refresh. We know that the PlayStation is coming out with a PlayStation 5 Pro. We're hearing that this is coming out in 2024. I saw some reports saying 2023. I don't think that that console is coming out this year. I think we're going to see the slim version of the PlayStation 5 come out this year, not the PlayStation 5 Pro. I could be wrong, but most reports are pointing to a 2024 release date. Now, Microsoft said that they are not going to do a mid-generation refresh. And I gotta be honest with you guys, once again, I'm so disappointed in this news. Now, this tells me that Microsoft is gonna ride this generation out. Now, Phil Spencer's exact words was that it's time to let the developers do their job, get used to these new systems, get used to these new engines. He thinks that games can improve in performance and the realistic nature of them, and of course, the way that they handle and feel in-game. So it doesn't look like we are going to be getting a mid-generation refresh from Xbox. Now, this tells me that a new console probably wouldn't come out until 2026. So we're going to have to see how the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out and the specifications of that system, and if it's a big uptick in performance over the PlayStation 5. If this is, I think gamers might be a little bit annoyed that Microsoft is not doing a mid-generation refresh. So we're going to have to put this to bed here. This is the Xbox boss, and he is saying once again that there is not going to be a mid-generation refresh, and we're going to have to take him at his word. Now, he also talked about the Xbox Series S and if it's holding back development and if they should scrap the parity clause. And his answer was kind of like a politician. I'm just going to keep it 100 here. He was saying that developers aren't really having issues with it. It's an artistic choice. Some are choosing to use split screen. Some are choosing not to use these services. And he says it's all up to the developers. He says for Forza, it was an issue of whether they should put all of their resources into split screen or something else. And I'm just going to be honest. When he says that the Xbox Series S and the Series X are not causing problems for the developers, I gotta say that's the political Phil Spencer talking here. There's a lot of developers that have come out and said that it's hard to get it running on both systems and that they would like to see the parity abolished. And Microsoft has come out and said today that they are not going to do that. However, they did put out an olive branch. As Baldur's Gate 3, the developers were sent a team over from Microsoft. So Microsoft assisted the team, and now we're hearing that this game will be releasing before the end of the year, and this has been confirmed by the developer, and Phil mentioned it in the interview. So there is some good news coming out of it. There's things that Microsoft can do to assist these studios. Now, I also really believe that some of this parity stuff needs to be abolished. If a certain feature can't run on the Series S and X, instead of holding the game back on both devices, strip the feature out of the Series S until you can get it running well. There's a lot of gamers out there that have the Series S, I get it. But once again, they know that they got a budget system. They know that they're not going to get all the same features as the Series X. And as long as the core game is the same, I don't see anything wrong with stripping out a feature until you can get it running right instead of punishing the Series X users and not launching the games on any of the systems. That's just my honest opinion on it. Of course, I was finishing editing my video and we have breaking news, so I'm gonna have to insert this into today's video. Now, this is coming from Shinobi. Baldur's Gate 3 will launch sometime this year. Now, I did cover that in the video, but it is now confirmed that the Series S will not feature split screen co-op. So this means that the parity clause was actually scrapped for this game. And I have to say, this is a great thing. Now, this is a perfect solution to the situation. If you can get the split screen running on the Series S, that's great. If you can't get it running on the Series S, at least you have the game on both platforms, on the Series X and S. Like I said in the video today, I do believe that Series S owners know that they got a budget system. They're not expecting all of the features that the Series X has. So this is a good compromise. They get the game on their system still, but they're losing a feature here and there, which is to be expected. Now, split screen co-op, I don't know how much of a big feature this is for most gamers, because personally, I don't play split screen. I know some people do, but most people have a really nice monitor. They're playing at home. They're playing online with their friends. They got their headsets in. They got their surround sound. They're not really playing a lot of split screen. So I don't think that's a reason to hold up this game coming to the Series S and X. And I have to say, this is a big win for Xbox. So I hope in the future, we're going to see more games coming to the Series X and S that really doesn't hold back the Series X. They just cut a feature if it's unable to run on the Series S. So this is great news. Just wanted to update this video and let's get back to it. So we had a few takeaways here. We're not going to be getting a mid-generation refresh. It's unfortunate, but this seems to be the case. It looks like the earliest that we could see a next generation console from Xbox is in 2026. Now, we're also not going to get rid of the parity clause between the Series S and the Series X, but they are willing to deploy developers out to help studios if they're having some problems getting the games to run on both systems. Phil also talked about the Rogue Ally and how he's using it on his daily travels, and he feels it's his Xbox portable. And I gotta second that. All of your Game Pass games are available on the Rogue Ally. All of your PC games are available on that device. I gotta say to you guys that this device is an absolute joy. After I got this device, I was no longer thinking about my Steam Deck. I sold it. The Steam Deck is kind of heavy. It's big in the hands. The Rogue Ally really feels like a portable PC. The form factor is just great. The graphics are great. The performance is great. There were a few little kinks at the launch of this device, but they've all been worked out, and I'm having a blast with the Rogue Ally. So if you want an Xbox portable, if you are invested in the PC ecosystem, I have to say the Rogue Ally is your #1 choice. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. I'm disappointed that we're not going to be getting a mid-generation refresh from Microsoft. If they were to be doing a mid-generation refresh, they would have had to start on it already. And with Phil Spencer coming out and saying, no, we are not doing this, we're going to let developers work with the system, I guess it is what it is. Now, there are a lot of tools, and I know you guys have heard about all of the tools that are not being used on the Xbox Series X. So let's hope that these developers start to utilize the features of the Series X. I think it's going to be a hard road ahead, especially with a lot of Unreal Engine 5 games coming out. But let's just see how everything plays out. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all of the news. Are you disappointed that there's not going to be a mid-generation refresh? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.